Hello, thanks for joining me. We're going to do this great little watercolor demonstration illustration. We got this watercolor paper greeting card. We're going to do a Christmas ornament with a little winter scene in it using some watercolors and a water brush. So let's get going. All right, the first thing is to fill the water brush, you just take this part off, and there might be if it's the first time, then there's going to be a little piece. You take that out, fill it with water, and then close it. Or there might be a piece. All right, so we're gonna get started. What should we start with? I think the sky. So let's make that. I'm gonna make it a gradient from dark to light, and it's gonna be purple, and I'm gonna get some blue in there too. And to make this circle, I just used a mug, and I just traced the circle of it. So what I have here is I have the paint that I want it where it's darkest, and then I just squeeze water and pull it down. You squeeze the brush, and that makes the water come out, and then that softens it. And then while it's wet, you can go in and add more color to it, no problem. Once it dries, you get a little different effect, so you'll have to either experiment with it or trust me. And by doing this way, what am I gonna do? I need a blue. I think I'm gonna use a little black. That's a little Payne's gray, I think, and that'll just make it a little darker with a little bit of a blue tint. The blue in this, on these colors that I have, is a very green blue. So as you can see, I put a lot of purple there. We have a stormy winter night here, and I'm right there. I'm mixing it in a little. That's one way to do it. But now that's too dark for me, so I'm gonna blot it with this while it's damp, and just the once, because I want to take some of that color off. Obviously that's way too much, but I didn't want to risk getting this color on the rest of the paper. So now that this is still wet, the paper is, I can go in and smooth out the transitions, re-wet it, and I'm going to go in and put a little more purple back in at the top. And as it, let me rinse my brush off. So what I did, I just wiped my brush off so it's cleaner, and now I can go in and just get watered there on there. Yeah, that was a good sentence. Get water on the bottom there, and that'll bring the color down. And oh, I have little lights coming out the window, coming in from the window. So I'm just going to do it again. Whoa, a little too much, but we'll see what happens. Maybe that, I'm probably going to dab that again, a clean spot. And I want to see if I can maybe get some cloud shapes in there. Again, clean spot because I'm going near the edge. There. And rinse the brush off again, and I'm going to soften those because I don't really want the texture of the tissue on there. And then you can go in and just, if you dab it like that, it's going to blend in, and you can see what happens. All right. So if you have wet paper with color, like if I started wetting the snow here, it's going to bleed into it. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to work down here. And for this, I have a line, but I still want a little bit of color there. So I grabbed some of my Payne's gray. I might do a little bit of pinch of the blue just to cool it down a little bit. And I'm going to rotate it just for the curve of my hand. And really, I just want a little bit of color just on the bottom. And then I will soften it up. I'm going to squeeze my brush. That'll get the water flowing and soften that paint application I just made. So you see that right there, that was, and you maybe want it to go up in here, and maybe some of that purple can bleed in. I don't know, we'll see what it looks like. And if you don't like it, I'll show you, maybe I can show you a trick to do it. But what you would do, just like we got rid of the purple, you could just wet it down, clean tissue, dab it, clean your brush, wet it down, dab it, and that really gets rid of almost all watercolor except for the really stained paper colors, stained colors. Blech. If you've really stained the paper with your colors. All right, so this is a purple, so let's get a nice warm brown. So I'm going to use, I think I have brown in this palette. I'm going to mix it there. I want a little warmer, so I'm going to get a little red. And that's a red also. So I want a really reddish, I guess. And we'll do some more of the brown. And if you don't have brown, your complements do it. So red and green will make a brown, blue and orange will make a brown, and the other ones, yellow and violet, will make a brown. So, all right, so I have a little bit on there. We're gonna see if that's still wet. That is still wet, so I shouldn't do this. Yep, I said I shouldn't, but I'm doing it anyway. And if you have a nice fine point, and the way you get that is a good brush will do it, but also as you're mixing, when you're done, if you rotate or spin the brush, then you can get the fine point of your brush into a fine point. And I'm mixing, I'm grabbing some of all the colors because it doesn't matter what it is, it just needs to be dark and brown with a little red. Okay. All right, so I have a little snowman down here. Yeah, let's clean out that brush. And I'm gonna give him, let's see, what should I do? Light colors first. So I'm gonna do a little bit of shadow on the side of him. And I'm gonna mix up some of that, little bit of the purple and the Payne's gray, because the reflected light from the purple sky will show in his shadows, and this is probably gonna be too intense. Nope, not purple enough, so that's good. Because you can always go back and put more in. So again, I'm drawing like I did here. I'm drawing the hard edge. Then I'm going to go back, flip it around, and soften that. And that might be too much for you. And you can go ahead and just dab it with your tissue. And there isn't going to be a strong cast shadow because the light is really diffused. It's not like the light isn't coming from one side or the other. So it'll be a soft edge, and I'm just pushing the brush down. So that's for shadow and just to give it a place to sit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add a little bit more purple. That's a little too much. Just on here, on the body of the snowman, because I want to separate it from the background, from the ground, because it would be darker, his body. All right, so that shows a little shadow, although I know the snowman has the light coming from this way, but that's all right. And he's going to have a little black hat, so I'm just going in the Payne's gray again. Let's get a little bit of blue in there, see if that gets us something we want. Basically, I just don't want it to be just black. I want it to be like a grayish, I guess you would say. Okay, and watercolor dries lighter than when you put it on, so you'll need to either really intense paint or go back in and add more. Okay. And now I'm cleaning off my brush just on an old sock, one of my kids' socks. Okay. All right, now we have, I'm going to give him a little red scarf. And I have two reds here. I have like an orangey red and a more of a violet red, I guess you would say. I'm going to do the less orangey one. And I'm just pushing, putting the brush in there to get some of the water from the brush in there. It's going, I don't know why snowmen have scarves, but, well, obviously they're cold, I get that, but, and here actually I just did something by accident, which I liked. I was trying to paint a shape for the scarf, but instead I just used the brush stroke to do what I needed. So I like that. And if I was doing a bigger snowman, I would have put something on the hat, but I didn't really want to because I want the red of the scarf to be really the pop of color, minus the subdued purple in the sky. So I am going to come back and do more red over there because I really want that to, well, I just set it to pop. So I'm getting some of whatever this mud color is that I've used many times. Hopefully it looks like it's a purple brown, but it's a brown. So I would just use a dark brown. And now we're just going to go in and put his hands. Just be slow and get the points. Use the tip of the brush. Good. And I'm going to add a little bit of black to where I was so I can bump the camera. All right, I'm just going to go in and eyes. Let's see, what do we got? Those. And let's go in and add some of this color to the hat just so it's consistent, and maybe a little bit more, just a little variety in there. And yes, I'm gonna, should we give him an orange nose? I think we will. So, but I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna let that dry because I don't want to mix anything over there. So now that the sky is probably dry, we're gonna go in and make some Christmas trees. And I think I have a green here. You might have a dark orange. I mean, dark orange. I'm not even close to what I'm saying. A yellowish green and a bluish green. So pine trees would be more of the bluish green. So I basically was just beating it up, trying to get some strong pigment on there. And again, you can mix it with maybe a little brown if you want. And you could even grab some of the yellow green to get it a little different than just the container colors, that's all. Because it's whatever color you want. So I have some green on here. I'm going to start at the top, and where am I here? And just throw a little trunk in there, another one, and then there's going to be some behind the house. And then just touching it. You want to leave some space between them because the sky is going to be between it. And I'm actually having a tree in the front here too. And I should have painted this side of the house, but I think I'm going to cover it up with the tree. Yep. Because I want a big one here to try to balance the composition. And I will show you what I mean in a minute. Okay, so we got that one. And now we're going to do another one, and maybe we could do a little more water just to soften it because it's going to be farther away, but I think we'll just leave and see what it looks like. And again, that was a little too much. And let's just do that again. Okay. And we do have a little bit of white. Whoops. So that one stuck out too much. So I'm just going to bring that tree up. Okay. So that is that. And oh, I was saying we do have a little white in this palette, and I'm going to see, once everything dries, how that goes on how we can get that onto there, to see if it can add a little snow. I'm going to add some more brown to the building after I do the roof. So I want the roof to be like a black, a gray. So I have the blue, whatever, brown, Payne's gray, purple, just a dark color. And maybe I leave it rough like that to show maybe there's a little snow on there. Yeah, I think so. And then what about the windows? Is there light coming out of those windows? I think there probably would be. So let's get a little bit of yellow. And it's probably not going to be too strong, and I don't want it, well, I want it stronger than that, but it's going to be, oh yeah, that showed up brighter than I thought originally. So we have a little light coming in those windows. What color is that? The brown. And yeah, maybe there's a red door on there. And this is a little flat, so I'm going to go in and add some more of the brown building to it. But we need to get, yeah, I'm going to do that now. I don't remember what color I used. This one, I think. Let's see. I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. Excellent. Get over here. And just adding some contrast and cleaning up maybe the shape of these windows, because I don't think those were, that one needs to be a little taller. Okay. Excellent. And looking over here, this is bothering me, so I'm just putting a little water on it, and we'll see if that can come up a little. Nope. Oh, it might have a little bit. Okay. All right, we are all set there. Let's do the orange on the nose. And I start at the tip of it with a point, and then as I go down closer to the base, it'll get a little fatter from me pushing harder on the brush anyway. All right, so now let's see if we can do some of that white. Now let's get in there. Okay, we're gonna add a little bit of white. And then, so here I'd really want to get a lot of the white, a lot of the pigment. So I'm really saturating it with the water, you can't see that, with the water from my brush. And I'm just squeezing and trying to get a little puddle there because I want it to soften the paint so I can pick up quite a bit of it. All right, so now we're gonna put this on the tree branches to see if it shows up at all. And it might be too wet, so then you would just need to go and maybe let it dry a little and try again. You might need to just put more paint. Yep, I think that's working. Let's see if we can get a little finer point here for the trees in the distance. Yep. Okay. And I'm actually going to go in and paint, see if this helps at all. No, that dirtied it. So that was dirty. Don't do that. So make sure you have a clean brush if you're going to do that. So I'm going to grab have a clean tissue. Drop some water on there, and there. Now you can see that that cleaned it up. And now one last thing, I'm just going to grab some of this little bit of purple, and I want it to be really faint. And I'm going to go in and add some little footprints, because the kids that made this snowman must have gone in for some hot cocoa, I guess. And there you have it. There's a cute little winter, I'm just kidding, I'm not done. I also wanted to make this look like an ornament. So what are we gonna put on the top? We'll do purple on the top again, because nothing says Christmas like, wait a minute, like purple, but let's make that. So we're gonna just do like the little, like that thing on the ornament. And I'm just coloring it in. And maybe we wanted another color, I'm not sure. This is the safe thing to do, but safe's no fun. So we'll do a little bit of gradient in there, do a little more color on top so it fits and comes down. And then I'm gonna use the brush, and I'm gonna make the little loop. That is way too much paint on there, but that's all right. And you got to go slow and support your hand, right? And so you can really control it. And now I'm going from here, hopefully straight up. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned. There's a bunch of information in it. Yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe, like, comment. I'd love to hear what you think. And you don't want to miss the next video. So until that next video, have a wonderful month. Have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, Happy Holiday. And remember to smile, create, repeat.